So in today's video, I want to talk about misinformation in programming. The irony of it is that it's misinformation that actually got me to start this YouTube channel to begin with. And I'll go into later, I'll show you some examples as relates to this as to why I landed up starting this YouTube channel. So topics. What I want to talk about is what is information, or misinformation, excuse me, at least as it relates to programming. What types are there? Where is it found? Who spreads it? And how do we land up combating this problem? So what is misinformation? Well, when it comes to programming, misinformation are things that are shared that prove to be untrue. Now, they're either 100% false or may have an element of truth to them, but in the end are very misleading. There are also times when examples are shown that do work, but there are better ways available. Might not necessarily be considered misinformation, but kind of misleading in a way. Maybe there's a more efficient way, or in some cases there are just better ways of doing something. Maybe better ways for maintenance, efficiency, code readability, that type of thing. So again, what types are there? Well, there's the 100% false variety, which is what I've run into several different times, and one of the main reasons I started this YouTube channel. And also there are the things that are somewhat misleading, especially when it comes to technique. How should I do something, maybe the industry standard way or the best way? Some people just don't seem to have a handle on that. Where is it found? Well, it's ubiquitous, unfortunately. Reddit is a very good source of misinformation. YouTube, yes, I understand the irony here because we are on YouTube right now, but there's been several tutorials that I have watched over the years that have spread misinformation, and that's the main reason why this channel exists. Was I wanted to try and combat that problem. You've got forum posts, you've got Discord, and believe it or not, even ChatGPT. Oh, not Skynet. Yeah, Skynet. ChatGPT is good at spreading misinformation too. And what's ironic about it is just the other day, I ran into a situation where ChatGPT fed me misinformation, something that is 100% not true, and I'll show you what that example was. Who spreads it? Well, unfortunately, one of the biggest problems we have are trolls. There are people out there that seem to get big thrills out of spreading information that's not true. I see this a lot on Reddit. I mentioned this in a video a little while back where someone was talking about, or someone asked a question about what programming language should they get started with as a beginner. And this guy posted a response which was, oh, I really think you need to start with assembly. It's the closest to the hardware, and he went on and on and on. And I was just sitting there going, huh? I was just laughing, and a lot of the comments were laughing too. So I hope the person that posted the question understood that this guy was just being a jerk. Well, I think he was being a jerk. I don't think he was 100% serious about this, but that's just one example where somebody goes out of their way to spread misinformation on purpose. The other group that will spread bad information is not doing it with nefarious intent, but sometimes you run into bad YouTubers and bad forum posters, bad people on Reddit. It's not that they're doing it on purpose, it's just that they're very inexperienced in the technology that they are working with. I've had this happen. In fact, one guy finally pushed me over the edge, and I created this YouTube channel, and the first video I posted on this channel was to try and help combat that type of misinformation. Now, the most recent example that has happened to me is someone who may have made an honest mistake in the past, or maybe was fed bad information, and then he posted a YouTube comment on, or posted a comment on one of my videos where he was trying to give me an example and he was telling me that something was not going to work when I do it all the time. It's something that works fine. So I don't know if it was just an honest mistake, if they were fed misinformation, bad information. I really don't know. So how do you combat this? Well, it's kind of like scam baiting. If you'll notice my comment at the bottom here, you got to remember we're only a drop in the ocean here. So scam baiters have said that many, many times, that them combating scamming is kind of a Herculean effort. It's like rolling a boulder up a hill. It just never seems to stop. And it's the same thing when it comes to technology, programming. It's very difficult to clean this stuff up. The one thing I would suggest, though, if you do have time and you are on forums, Discord, Reddit, YouTube, any of those things, is try to leave a comment correcting bad information where you can. And I've done this several times, especially on YouTube. I have left comments where the original YouTuber posted a tutorial video and showed you the way to do something, and I said, no, this is not the way to do something. So that's kind of the biggest way we can do it, is when we run into this type of misinformation on forums, Reddit, Discord, Telegram, no matter what it is, leave a comment, like I try to do. And also, if you're talented enough, I would suggest that you make your own videos, like I did. The sad thing is, and I'll show you this when I get into my examples, a YouTuber that posted videos about 4, maybe 5 years ago now, showing the correct way to do things in a technology that I was just getting into. His YouTube channel is extremely small, and unfortunately, he hasn't uploaded anything in the last 3 to 4 years. So his videos are now so buried that the algorithm doesn't show them to you. So I created my own set of videos because I wanted something newer out there to show people the correct way to do things. And how you get that correct way to do things is with experience. So if you've got the time or the talent and you want to make your own videos, I think that's a great way to try and combat the problem, because maybe the algorithm will show somebody asking the question on YouTube your video before it shows somebody something that's terrible. Okay, so that's enough blabbing. Let me get into some examples of what I'm talking about here so you get a feel for what I mean. So when I return, I'm going to be in PyCharm, and I'm going to show you 2 examples of where this has kind of gone off the rails. All right? I will be back. Okay, so here we are in PyCharm, and this is my preferred editor for Python applications. And what I want to show you here is a couple of examples where misinformation gets spread quite a bit. Well, one example is where misinformation gets spread a lot, and the other one is the YouTube comment that I mentioned before that I want to go over. So when we are creating a PySide application, we use a tool called Qt Designer, or at least you can, to design your interfaces. And I'm going to show you what this looks like. So here's my example. This is just a QMain window, which is just a main window. And I've got one option in here called quit. It's all I put in here. And what we do to turn this into Python is, I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Yep, delete it anyway. We use something called the UIC compiler, and what it does is it takes this XML file that comes out of Qt Designer and it turns it into a Python file for us. So I can go Qt, convert UI to Python. and here we go. So this is generated code. It took that XML file and it turned it into Python. And then what we are supposed to do is we are supposed to take this file and import it, which is what I'm doing right here. And then we create a custom class from that. The tendency that I have seen on a lot of YouTube videos is to take this, which is generated, go ahead and in here and remove this message and start coding the main part of the application in here and here. And you notice there's no if name equals main, so you do have to put all that in manually, at least in PySide. This is not the way to do this. What really pushed me over the edge to create this channel was I watched a guy who had, I'd say probably 1,000 YouTube videos on his channel. He's got a massive amount of videos, and he's got it under every sort of technology under the sun. Rust, C++, C, JavaScript, Java, HTML, CSS, Python, on and on and on. And he did a video on how to use Qt Designer and create a PyQt PySide application from it. And the first thing the guy does is he comes in here and he deletes this and he starts editing this file manually. Anyone who has ever worked with generated code, and I've worked with 2 big code generators in my past. When I started working with those tools, those developers pounded into my head that you do not alter generated code. And you'll see there's even a warning in here, which I think this warning should say, do not edit this file. But what it says is all changes made in this file will be lost when recompiling. So if you manually change this thing and you make changes and recompile, you're going to lose everything. Well, a lot of people will say, well, copy it out, and then copy in the changes, and that gets to be ugly. Any person who's worked with a code generator is going to tell you that you don't touch this at all. You do everything you can within the tool. Okay, so that's really what prompted me to do this, was because, or create this channel, was because I got so tired of seeing videos where people were editing this file and not showing you that you import it and then you create your custom class based on it. So I'm basing this, my main window, on QMain window, and I'm also basing it on my custom generated code, which is UI main window underscore main. So now when I run this, you'll see I get my main window, plain blank empty window, and I've got file and quit, and then the application stops. Now what's prompting me to make this video today is a YouTube comment that I received maybe a couple months ago now. I just haven't gotten into making a video about this yet. But this person was pretty adamant about that something doesn't work that does. And I'm going to go over what that was. So if you can see here, I have a close event function here. And you'll notice that it's actually overrides method in QWidget. So QMain window inherits from QWidget, and that's where this override close event is. Now, what this gives us the ability to do is that when the application is going to close, we can perform things, do things before the application shuts down. In this particular case, I've overridden the close event method, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear out my temporary directory. So I have a temp directory here in the application, which is right here, and I have this function called clear directory, which all it does is it empties the directory. It doesn't delete the directory, it just removes anything that's in it. So directories, files, symbolic links, everything goes out the window. Now, the person that posted the comment said that when you perform multiple inheritance like this, so I'm importing from, or I'm basing this on QMain window, and I'm also basing it on my custom generated code, my custom class. What they were saying is this close event cannot be overridden. I don't know how they came to this conclusion because I do this all the time. A common reason to override the close event is to perform things like this, where I want to clear the directory. But also, people use this to put up warning messages. So let's say you're going to close the application down. You can pop up a dialog box that says, hey, are you sure that you want to close this app? The other common thing that people do with this is they will have they'll have a form that you have to fill information in. And let's say you fill some of the information in, but then go to close the form. They'll pop up a warning message that says, you have unsaved changes. Are you sure you want to close this window? And that's something that you would do by overriding the close event. So if I take and create a couple of files in this directory, and they don't have to have anything in them of any importance. And they don't have anything of any importance. Okay, so now I've got two files in this temp directory. When I go back to my, let's see, my main window here, if I right click this and run this, if I go File, Quit, you'll see the directory, the temporary directory cleared. So, and this guy even left me a big code example where he was not doing multiple inheritance here. And he said, well, it doesn't work. If you do multiple inheritance, this doesn't work. And it does. I do this all the time. I have never written any of these from a QMain window to a Q widget to a Q dialog where I have not done multiple inheritance. So how did this person arrive at this? Well, I don't actually know. I deleted the comment right away because I knew that that his comment was not true. So I don't want it on the channel because I don't want somebody picking that up and then saying, oh, that doesn't work. And they carry that with them into their code. There's a couple of different possibilities. Number one, maybe he was told that it doesn't work. The other possibility is maybe he tried to do this and somehow made a mistake. I don't know. It certainly is possible that he made an accidental mistake. The other possibility is maybe at one point in time you couldn't do this with multiple inheritance, although I don't think that's true. Maybe there was a bug in PySide that this wasn't working at one particular version. Maybe it's the leftover from the Qt 5 days. I really don't know. But it's the type of thing that if he tells 3 other people that, or he posts that on Reddit or some forum somewhere, then it gets picked up and everybody thinks that this doesn't work, when in reality it does. So that's why I'm making this video, is to say, you know, you got to kind of be careful with the stuff that people tell you, because maybe it's true and maybe it's not. Last but not least, and I found this kind of funny, I was chatting with ChatGPT the other night, and I asked ChatGPT a specific question, which was, why does the PySide UIC compiler do things the way that it does them? So in other words, why does it create, if you look at this, why does it create this type of code? You'll notice how this class is based on object. It's not based on QObject. It's not based on QMain window or anything. It's just a very generic Python object. Then why doesn't it have a init method? Why does it have a setup UI method that you have to call? So I was just curious, what would ChatGPT tell me? And everything that it was telling me seem to be fine. You know, like here, dynamic widget instantiation. Blah, blah, blah. The generated code uses methods like setup UI self, that's true, to populate an existing parent widget or main window. This makes it flexible to apply the same UI design to different types of widgets dynamically. Okay, that's true. Everything it had told me up to this point was true, and then it gave me this. Signal connections omitted. Signal slot connections, and if you're unfamiliar with signals and slots in PySide, that is the communication method between widgets. Signal slot connections are not part of the generated code, giving developers the flexibility to define them in their own logic tailored to the specific application. This isn't true. And I kind of laughed because I'm glad I read the whole thing, because this is not technically true. When you use Qt Designer, you do have the ability to put in some signal slot connections. Nothing custom, but you can connect signals and slots on the widgets that are part of that particular window. When you compile the UI file into Python, those signal slot connections go in the generated code. Now, I usually tell people, and I do have signal slot videos on this channel, I usually tell people not to do it that way. I tell people to put it in the code themselves, but you can put some signal slot connections inside Qt Designer, which will then get translated into the compiled Python. So this isn't 100% true. And so even ChatGPT, which I love this little warning down here, it says, hey, ChatGPT can make mistakes, and this is one of them. This is not 100% true. Okay, so again, misinformation tends to be somewhat prevalent. I would highly recommend that you do what you can to combat it. If you see something out there that somebody's saying that isn't true, don't bash them, but post a comment, make a video, do something to say no, that is not correct, and here's how things actually do work. Okay? And other than that, happy coding.